Hey guys, it's Ludix. Welcome back to my channel for yet another video. Today I want to do an ice makeup because you like the Fire and Flames makeup so much. I thought I would try to do the ice version. So first I want to do a full face and I want to explain every step. So first I'm going to apply face primer. So I really like the TATCHA Silk Canvas one. So I take the little scoop and I scoop out some of it. So I warm it up in my hands and I really put it all over my face. I really go ahead and drag it down to my neck because I also drag down my foundation and powder to my neck. So I think it's important to also prime that area. I really like this primer because it grips my foundation, but at the same time it also hydrates my skin because I had oily skin when I was a teenager, but now it's growing to be more of a dry, not very dry, but I still have a bit of dry skin. So I'm going more towards hydrating primers right now. And this one is really a good one. Then I'm gonna go ahead and apply my foundation. So my favorite foundation is the Anastasia Beverly Hills. It's a Luminous foundation in the shade 130N. I really like it because it's full coverage, but you can also a little bit see underneath my skin because I feel like, except a few spots, I have a pretty nice skin. So I'm gonna go ahead and put 1.5 pump for my full face. But since I cleaned all my brushes, maybe I might add a little bit more later because since the brush is clean, it absorbs more product. I like using a brush instead of a sponge because I don't really like how a sponge feels compared to a brush. I really like the way that a brush is more precise and it doesn't absorb as much product as a sponge does. I don't know, I've always liked brushes more than sponges for the effect, and on the skin it looks better. But I really like this brush. It's the MORPHE X Jeffree Star. It's the foundation brush and I think it's really nice. Okay, now that this is done, I'm gonna apply powder just to my forehead because as you can see, I have some lines that I don't really like. And so the first thing I do even before concealer is I powder that straight ahead because I don't want the foundation to crease. So for powder, I'm using a powder puff from Linda Hallberg. She's a Swedish makeup artist and she has tons of great ideas, great videos, and great products, and I really like her powder puff. And I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills loose setting powder that I mixed. So I had the shade Translucent and I mixed it with the Huda Beauty loose powder in there was this trend with the cherries, like the pink powder, but it was too pink, and so I mixed it with the translucent powder, and it's a little pink, but it's not too pink, yet it's not too white, and so I really like mixing those two. So that's what I did. Now I'm gonna go in with my concealer. So I go and put it underneath my eyes, and I always try to go up to the inner corner of my eye to really hide that purple, because usually the purple or the blue underneath your eyes always goes in the inner corner, so I always try to hide that, and then just erase the few spots. And then I'm gonna blend that with a Morphe brush. Again, I like brushes more than sponges because I feel like it's more precise. It leaves the product on your skin more than it absorbs it, so in the long run you're saving money on the product because you don't have to put as much on your skin. And I just like working with brushes, and I really try to blend that into my skin. Oh, and for concealer I'm not such a big fan, but it's the one I have now, the LA Girl Pro Conceal. It's a bit too light, but since my powder is not white, so I'm gonna go ahead and dip my powder puff in the powder and then just put it where I put the concealer with the sharp edge, and then I use the big side again and I'm just gonna powder the rest of my face. Now that my whole face is powdered, I'm going to go ahead and go with a fluffy powder brush just to take out the excess. And I always like to go with the first round of setting spray. So again, it's the Morphe Jumbo Continuous Setting Mist. I like to do that first so it really sets in the base before I can work on anything. Like, it helps the powders to really get into my skin and blend it all together so that when I apply bronzer or blush or highlighter, it's going to stick to my face, because if I apply it like this, there's so much powder on my foundation that nothing will really stick. And I like to use powder blushes and bronzers over creams. It's just personal preference. So I think putting first round of setting spray really helps them to grip on my skin later on. So before I do my eyeshadows, I want to do my brows. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz. I showed you in the other video how I do my brows, so I'm just going to do them off camera. Okay, now that brows are done, I'm going to go ahead and apply my eye primer. As always, the Anastasia Beverly Hills with a fluffy brush from Morphe. It's a little bit angled, and I like to use it for that because it's round, but it's also pretty precise for me to go underneath my brow, etc. So I really like it for this. And I'm gonna go ahead and drag that base all the way to my nose bridge and also on the outer corner, because I'm gonna apply some shadows there and I want them to stick later on. I want to have a big snowflake on both outer corners and then smoke it out. I want to do kind of a smoked liner, like I think you guys figured out I like, but then I want a snowflake. So snowflakes are the opposite of the Fire and Flames makeup that I did, because the inside of the snowflake has to be white and the outside has to be darker. So I think I'm gonna trace the snowflakes again. For this, today I'm gonna be using the Morphe X Meredith Duxbury because it has all the shades of blues and pretty ice color that I could need. So I think first I'm gonna trace the snowflake using Hudson, which is this bright blue right here. And I'm gonna be doing that by using a Morphe tiny brush like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and trace. So I want the snowflake center to be here, right? And it should have 6 branches. So I'm just gonna go like this. Like this. So that's the base of the snowflake. Each branch does it like this, right? With tiny specks like this. Okay, and so what I think might look cool is if I connect, like I did here, I can connect them together because I think it looks cute. So yeah, this is my snowflake so far. I'm gonna go ahead and do that on the other eye. I made them not symmetrical on purpose, but I think right now it looks super cool. I have this tiny brush. I'm gonna go ahead and use Endless Nights, which is the dark blue right here, to blend out the edge of my snowflake. So I'm going to fill in all the blanks from the blue. I'm purposefully doing brush strokes because I think it looks cool. And I'm not going to blend the brush strokes more than this because I think it looks cool that it's intense and then it kind of goes towards the outside. Now that I've outlined my snowflake, I'm going to go ahead and take the same brush with the first blue, which is Hudson, again to really kind of mark my snowflake into the shapes. And just really mark the blue again, like this, before and after. I want to put some white liner inside, but before I want to do that, I just want to do a quick eyeshadow on the eyes. So I'm basically going to use the same colors. So I'm first going to take Endless Nights, which is the dark blue that I used, And I'm trying not to touch the snowflake too much, and then just kind of bring that blue into the crease. Also, I always do kind of a V shape on my eyes, as you guys know. And then just bring that in my crease. And then I'm gonna go ahead and use Hudson, and then I'll blend out with Brandon right here, which is a light blue. So taking Hudson to bring that into the inner corner like this, really to just tie the snowflake look together. And then I'm gonna go back and forth into the darker blue, the lighter blue, to make sure that the look looks blended until I'm satisfied. And then I'm gonna go ahead and use Brandon to really just smooth out those edges all the way to the nose bridge. And then I'm also gonna take Brandon and put that underneath my eyes with a big fluffy brush, because I don't want a defined lower lash line. I just want it to blend with the top. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and reapply my eye primer base just on the lid here to apply some sparkles. So I put it on my hand and I just dip my brush in it, slightly tap it on my eyelid, and then just drag it up. But I want a really blended look, so I'm just tapping it like this, with still respecting the form that I put. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take the Brandon brush, the blue, and then just really blend that base into the matte shadows so that it looks smooth. Now I'm going to take a big flat brush, and I'm going to be using the shade Hot Glam. I think it's a secret for no one because it looks amazing. If I can swatch it for you guys, it looks like this. So it's white, but it's also pretty icy. And so I'm tapping that on the eye primer that I put, but I'm also kind of going above the primer to make sure that the glitters are really blended into the look. And I'm also going to go in the inner corner. Okay, now I'm gonna add some setting spray just for the eyes and the snowflakes so that they stay in place. I'm not gonna do any liner today, but what I like to do always, even when I'm putting mascara on bare skin, is I apply black kohl on the upper eyelid. So as always, I'm using the MAC Tecnakhol liner in the shade black. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna apply it underneath my lashes. This makes sure that my mascara looks even more black. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take a liner brush like so, and I'm gonna be using my favorite, the Suva Beauty Hydra Liner. This brand no longer exists, or at least this product doesn't exist anymore. And I'm gonna trace very thin lines in the blue snowflake. So you should put water in the Hydra liner and then kind of have a paste, the paste that you like. Some like it more liquid, some like it less. I like it not so liquid, because if it's too liquid then it'll drip all over your face. And then once I have the consistency I want, I'm just gonna test it on my hand. See, this is the perfect texture. So now I'm gonna go ahead and draw the white lines on my snowflake and pray for it to work. So I'm gonna go from the center to the outside because I want the center to be thicker. And if you start on the outside, then the line is gonna be thick and thin at the end. So I always start at the middle. If you guys are wondering, I am not breathing right now. It doesn't have to be perfect because snowflakes are not perfect. I think this looks really cool. Okay, and so in the middle, I will try to create a geometrical shape a bit more. See, like this. And then I think I want to add little dots at the end. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply mascara. I bought a new mascara because the Clarins one I was using started to smell bad. I bought the Maybelline Sky High Sensational, which is supposed to be amazing. Okay, I'm gonna apply blush. So I'm gonna be using the NARS in the shade Behave, which is a very cool toned blush. So of course I'm not gonna apply it where my normal blush is because it would be on the snowflake, but I'm gonna apply it here and on my nose to be like if I was cold. On the chin and a bit on my forehead. As always, see, it looks like I am cold. Now that the white liner has dried down, I'm gonna go ahead and take that same brush I used for the sparkles in the same shade, and I just want to put it in the middle and then diffuse it all over the snowflake. I don't know if you can really see it. And then same shadow on my nose, Cupid's bow on the brow bone. And for lips, I'm gonna go and use the blush again a little bit around my lips. And I'm going to be using the GLAMLITE Rivendell lip gloss because it's kind of purple and I think it's gonna go very well with this look. I just put gloss and no lip liner because I don't always wear a lip liner. And I think it looks better without anything. Last mist of setting spray and then I think we'll be done. So that's it guys. I hope you enjoyed this video of me making snowflakes on my face. I really enjoyed this. I love how creative makeup is and how you can create basically anything out of just an eyeshadow palette and a white liner. I think it looks super cool. I think I want to go grocery shopping like this now. I feel like the frozen princess. I think it looks super cute. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments. What makeup do you want me to do next? I have tons of ideas. But if you guys want to see me do something specific, please let me know. I hope you enjoy my videos and my channel because I really love doing makeup. I take lots of time to film, edit my videos. I try to make them better and better and better every time, so let me know if you have any ideas or comments on how to improve myself. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!